Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Trying a different setting today. Want it to be dark in the background. Guys, today we're doing another reaction. Your reaction to he left Nigeria to build $1 million tech company in South Africa. So yeah, it's about the time we want to see why he left and the challenges he's facing. What is this? Challenges, why he left. What else do I want to know? How we get started in this thing. Most likely this is how it's going to go. I am trying a new background, but I have to say, I am on load shedding too. I am on load shedding. The thing that is lighting on that way appears there. What is lighting is the stairs of where I stay. But yeah, guys, just in case the lights pops up while I'm doing a video, just so you know, I'm on load shedding. If you don't know what load shedding is, welcome to South Africa. It's like those power cuts they used to have in Nigeria. We have them too, but they call them load shedding. But yeah, guys, let's get to the video. Beside that, if you're new, hit the like and subscribe button. If you are returning, you're a real one. If you're returning, you're a real one. Bam, 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 bam. All right, guys, let's get to it. Click.
At some of the deals I chase in this country. When I'm building my pitch, I'm already feeling like, Kola, you already had a back foot here. So you go hard or you go home.
For those that don't know, I was showing you the Springbok. The Bucks. You know we South African, nigga, when you see this. Those ones, they take chances. They take a scrum where they shouldn't. Not a scrum master, but a scrum. Let's get to it though. Why is he walking like he's chilling? I might run out of data as I'm watching this video. I'm running on data right now.
What's up, guys? How are you doing today? It's Tayo Aino here again, and today I have a special guest in the house. I'm here beside Mr. Kola Olajide, who is the founder of Bridge Labs, which is a technology company and is located in South Africa. How did you get started? What's your story?
Cool. So I moved South.
You know, Sprite is different. Sprite. No, it's not part of the video, but it kicks.
Africa in 2009. Came here to study. After my studies, I started working in corporate.
He's the founder of Bridge Labs, which is a technology company and is located in South Africa. How did you get started? What's your story?
Cool. So I moved to South Africa in 2009. Came here to study. After my studies, I started working in corporate. But I'd always been passionate about education technology. In the early days, it wasn't easy to get the entrepreneurship visa, right? What we had back then was the exceptional skills visa. And I really wanted an exceptional skills visa. I landed on an opportunity to do a project for Western Cape government. I think they had a project then that wasn't successful, and I was brought in to work on this project. And right after that, the director wrote a letter to the government, which accelerated the decision on my exceptional skills visa. And since then, I haven't looked back, right?
My mentor once told me that you need a sponsor, someone to speak in your behalf in certain rooms that you cannot speak in. See, that guy has a sponsor. There's a mentor and a sponsor, how my mentor described it. These are two people that play different roles. Then you need to find that person that has that power to speak in certain rooms, and that could work in your favor. Because maybe his thing would have been approved. They would have not approved it if it wasn't for that person he's talking about.
I've just been an entrepreneur. I'm on my third company now. First one didn't do so well, so we had to sell the intellectual property to a major university.
Was it a tech company?
Tech company, right? So EdTech, right? So actually, this is my first company that's not EdTech, right? So first one was EdTech. Second one was also EdTech. Sold the intellectual property to an.
Important key to note: his dead company. You fail a module once and you say this degree is not for me. Chill. You try C# once, then you say this coding thing is not for me. Try Python, something light. You try a course, 2 days, you say this thing is hard, it's not for me. Try, fail, try again. We're not saying stick in something that's not working, but at least give it time. Try the same thing a couple of times. But if you keep on trying it, they say it's madness. But sometimes you gotta be mad to some degree.
Organization in Mauritius with the funds from the exit started Bridge Labs 5 years ago.
How many years ago did you come down to?
I've been here for 13 years, 2009 January.
13 years. What has the journey been like?
It hasn't been easy. I'd put so much pressure on myself. Growth is always going to be uncomfortable, right? So I try to make sure that I'm not comfortable. Yes, you might see some of these elements.
Comfortable, though.
But I try to.
Hey man, this guy, not when rich people speak. You know when someone's rich, when they say, I'm comfortable. Like, I'm not rich, but I'm comfortable. How are you comfortable, nigga? Broke people don't get comfortable at anything. But I like what he said about not staying in your comfort zone or not being comfortable. Growth, he said something about growth. Growth is painful or something. But yeah, you ever seen a child when they grow their teeth? They cry out. When you grow your wisdom tooth, it hurts as hell. That's just an example of it's necessary to have that thing, but the growth, the process it takes for you to obtain it, it's kind of hard. Man, you stay 12 years in school just to get into another school. Can you imagine? Just to get into, just for you to be considered to do something that you might end up changing or not liking. But you gotta be in school for 12 years first, straight. They could have said 6, they could have said 3. They could have said, nah, we'll see you when you 17, then we start teaching you. No, they said 12 years straight. Be there, show up every day, go to school, unless of something that is important. But yeah, that's something to take away.
To remain uncomfortable as much as I can, especially when it comes to building businesses. One of the things that I think has worked well for me is doing hard things very early. When I started Bridge Labs, if you look at the kind of clients we work with, they are some of the biggest players in South Africa. So we had to find ways to get into the door, right? Everyone was coming with their own standard business model, and we had to find innovative ways, right? I met my first client at Bridge Labs while I was giving a guest lecture at a business school, Gibbs, Gordon Institute of Business Science. So it's been an interesting journey from talent identification to even business development.
See, that's important, guys. He met his first client, he was giving a speech somewhere or a lecture somewhere. I know some people say they're introverts. Some people say they don't know how to present or speak. Some people just want what they want. You want that job that you want. I understand that to some degree, guys. But this is fascinating, very important. I understand that to some degree, but you should be willing to explore other things. You never know who you're going to meet at a certain thing. People don't know who they don't know. I was once offered an opportunity to host an event at work. Yes, I do content. Yes, I can speak, but hosting an event at work in front of executives, in front of the CEO, everybody who's important was there. It's nerve-wracking. But that thing cemented my name. Now, I'm not sure now if he remembers me or not, but at least people that are in places remember my name. Because some of them, I did things they cannot do themselves. Be in front of people in that way. Have confidence in that way. In that way, I met some people met me. If I was just sitting down in the crowd, they wouldn't have. So it's important sometimes to explore other means of networking. That's where I want to go.
And I think what has also helped is the reputation and the work I had done in the past. So that's also helped with making Bridge Labs what it is today.
I know you guys want to learn about business, but
Oh, man, chill, bro. No offense, my guy, but I'm not watching whatever you are sponsoring. Sorry. I'm moving to childhood in Nigeria. What's next? Trust. Most. No, what is this? Bridge Labs. Okay. Let's go to childhood in Nigeria.
So let's backtrack to Nigeria. When you were in Nigeria, what was your childhood like? And also, like, what kind of family are you from?
People from Nigeria are successful, fam. I think they were first people. Let me not say it's first people, but I know that they successful and their work ethic is crazy. Most of my professors, they were Nigerian. Superstars like Burna Boy, Davido, Wizkid, superstars, and they very creative that side. Yeah.
So I'm from a family of six, dad and mom still alive. I remember we were born and I was in Bagada at the point. It was an interesting phase, and yeah, I've also gotten a couple of opportunities to go back to Nigeria and do something which I'm now exploring. And the good thing, I got a couple of friends doing really amazing stuff now in Nigeria. I can go back and it can actually feel like home. It's not the way I left right? So I look forward to explore building something in the country.
Nice. So you mentioned 3 companies. You said the first one didn't work out. You know, a lot of people, when something doesn't work out, they just give up. How were you able to continue and build something else even after that didn't work out?
It was a very interesting company. I was very young at the point. And we were 5 co-founders from 5 different African countries.
It looks like Pogba.
We had the best resume to build a startup at the point. Big thing when you build a company is trust. And one of the mistakes we also made at the beginning is we just shared the company equally among each other. What happens is when some people start to contribute more than the others, it doesn't feel fair. You don't feel like getting the value for you bringing to the table. Different things happen, right? And I guess, whatever, we all made mistakes and we're really young. And we didn't have mentors at the point who were going to guide us through. Also, we won a lot of awards. People who get caught up in the awards game and take them away from the focus of their business. And that's why these days I'm very focused on the business, not the awards. A lot of people get caught up in these awards and all these things, right? So yeah, I think also with the product we're building, then the market wasn't ready. The goal of the business.
He said something about value, adding value. It reminds me of something my mentor said as well, and my manager. So my manager said, be sure to document how you are adding value to the company. Because if you document your task, when it comes down to giving you a raise, it comes down to giving you a bonus, Sprite is kicking in, giving you a bonus, people want to know how you are adding value to the company. If you understand yourself, how you are adding value to the company. So she said, if weekly basis or monthly basis, just write down how the tasks that you did and how they added value to the company. I found it very useful because I had some discussions that people were asking me how you find the company and what are you doing. Had to highlight things that I did, but not necessarily to show how much work I'm doing, but just to show how much I'm benefiting the business and how me being here is worth so much to the business on a day-to-day basis. Very helpful.
Was helping universities take people who get caught up in the awards game and take them away from the focus of their business. And that's why these days I'm very focused on the business, not the awards. A lot of people get caught up in these awards and all these things, right? So yeah, I think also with the product we're building, then the market wasn't ready. The goal of the business was helping universities take their courses online, basically taking education out of the 4 walls of the classroom. And yeah, we built some interesting software that got acquired by a major university in South Africa. And also because we had all these awards, people had a lot of opportunities and the co-founding team. So one of them went to work for a major airplane companies that build airplanes.
Wow. Hopefully it's not SAA. Hopefully.
Now I went to Google and nice. I'd say it was a foundation that.
Sometimes, that's why I was saying you should always try and try and try. So sometimes you just have an idea or have a business plan or have a business in mind that people are not ready for, or the industry where you want to implement that in people are not ready for. He did this thing, I'm not sure the year, but because it was his first company, he did it to something like Moodle, if you know Moodle, because if he's explaining, it sounds like Moodle, to take courses of online. That system in that time wasn't as useful, but during COVID, it was highly useful. I remember when I was in grade 11, I did a self-spraying door handle machine, like an automatic spraying door handle machine was supposed to spray door handles automatically as you close the door. The reason why I did this was because where I used to stay, we had a lot of droughts. So my idea was, since we have droughts, which results to people getting sick, one of the causes of that is because there is not hygiene in this place. People don't wash their hands, all of those things. So I proposed we make a self-spraying door handle machine, so that even if I don't wash my hands, the next person is not affected by my bad decisions and choices. And it's not necessarily sometimes because there was drought, it's not that I don't want to wash my hands, it's just that there's no water to wash my hands. So I made that machine. But at that time, people were not ready for it. People were saying that thing is going to be useful. How am I going to do it? How am I going to build it? A lot of things that were said. Fortunately for me, I won an international competition, and they gave me a silver medal though. I didn't win the whole thing. But if I implemented that thing during COVID, trust me, I would have gotten something. I would have sold it to somebody that says it's useful. Sometimes you just have to continue innovating and fine-tuning the ideas and your thought process. Because he had a great idea, but the timing of it wasn't.
Played a major role in who the Fiber Pros are today.
So you mentioned Bridge Labs. That's your main company now.
Yes.
What's Bridge Labs? What would you call it?
Bridge Labs was started to help forward-thinking organizations build products that are customer-centric. And by the time I started Bridge Labs, I'd taken some of the lessons from building the first business to now the second business. And also with the second business, one thing I did differently was I was an entrepreneur in residence at an organization. Right? I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs today are getting it wrong. You can't disrupt something you don't understand. So how do we innovate from the inside? Right? So that's how Bridge Lab started. Our first client was...
I agree with that. I agree with that. I thought something was happening. I agree with that. Sometimes you need to be in the thing to understand the thing, you know? Yeah, for me, I want to do machine learning. And I want to do AI, data science. I want to have a company that specializes in these things. But I couldn't do these things without having only academic knowledge. You needed to be in a company and see the problems certain companies face, so that I can better tailor my solutions or my proposed solutions to what the companies are facing. So yeah, guys, starting a business is all good and stuff, but you gotta understand the problem that you want to solve at large. Point.
Was one of South Africa's largest privately owned car dealerships. They were doing, close to $60-70 million in revenue annually.
Oh, wow.
Right. And we were brought in to basically build an operating system for them to help them manage their processes and also cut down on fraud because everything is going digital. Right. So now, because of the strength of the client.
Fraud is also something that I'm currently working on in my current role at work. Also looking into going to cyber machine learning. They said I had a conversation with somebody that is of an important company. They were saying cyber ML. It's also an industry that's worth looking into, especially if you're in the fraud space, of which that I am in. It's very important. So if you are also interested in machine learning, check that out. And machine learning ops, very useful. It's a tip.
We got to collaborate with the major banks in the country and even with the major credit unions. I think that project put us on the map. We were able to then partner with universities to identify talent, and getting clients from them was just organic. right? Because people saw what we did for them, and a lot of people wanted us to work with them. Then things evolved. As I started to shape the vision of the company, I started to see the skill set we had built was also needed by startups.
When I started working, I used to get to work and put on my earphones and sit down, do my work. Then it's a blessing to have a mentor. Then a manager of mine told me, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And we don't know what you know. And frankly, we're too busy to ask or to know. So you gotta make sure we know. So where I'm going with this is saying it was easy to get clients when it did that tender for that motor company, the dealership. So because people were being referred. Now someone knows you and they're referring you. Same thing with the mentor, or same thing with the sponsor, and putting yourself out there. It goes together, Chief. It goes together. It's a magunya in cheese, magunya in polony. It goes together.
So now, if you look at our array of clients today, it's a combination of established companies with a couple billion in revenue annually to fast-growing startups that have just raised something significant to take them to the next level.
But what are some of the major challenges you faced when building these businesses?
At the beginning of my entrepreneurship career, credibility was an issue, right? Because people would be like, okay, who's this young man coming to this environment and wanting all this big deal? So if we look at the average service provider pitching for these deals, they come across as much older and more experienced. So who are these really confident young crowd that's trying to come in and,
Says what I was been saying. We don't know you. Who are you? You can present the best thing ever, but if I have to give you some couple of millions, I better know you from somewhere. Who are you? Who's backing you? Who can vouch for you? Who are you? We don't know you. Somebody gotta know you, man.
To the biggest table very early.
Like, how old were you then?
I was 22. 22.
Really?
Yeah, I was 22. 22 at the point. And so,
okay.
yeah.
I see.
And so yeah, they liked what you do, but they just felt like you were too young for them to put so much of their future in your hands.
Yeah.
Right. So they may have lawyer. So that was the early problems we faced. But the problems we face as entrepreneurs has evolved now. From coming up with innovative ways to keep our top talent, making sure the clients we are working with are the right bets. I mean, one of the things we do at Bridge Labs also is we discount our services so that we can partake in the upside we create for your organization. And I think that deal structure is what has gotten us into a couple of organizations. Everyone comes with a fixed fee for a fixed set of resources.
If you ever had a conversation with a contractor, they'll tell you something. I had one with a contractor at work. He told me straight up, I'm not building this system to work gracefully. Like, no. Then you won't need me. I must make it in a way that you still need me. That's funny. So for him to say in his company they discount their services so that they can also be affected if the project doesn't go successfully, it's also interesting, because sometimes if you ever dealt with business and you ever dealt with stakeholders, you know that they shift what they want all the time. That's why things have to be documented and signed off, because they will say they want this thing today, tomorrow is another thing. They just says, oh, we did this, add this. Why am I adding? The deadline doesn't change. They just say add this. I'm adding things now. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna go home and say one line of code is added, then boom, the function works. But yeah, I'm not blaming nobody. I'm just saying.
We come in with an entrepreneurial mindset, with a clear goal of creating value for you and sharing the upside. Make you feel like if the project fails, we also have a lot to lose.
Coming out to South Africa, what was the deciding factor?
value. It's a value. Listen.
Where most people think about going is UK, Canada, and the rest. Down to South Africa, what was the deciding factor? Where most people think about going is UK, Canada, and the rest. What made you choose South Africa?
So at the point, I had an uncle who, was very successful in the family. At some point, he was actually on the presidential committee set up by Obasanjo back in the day.
Oh, okay.
So he's forcing the family to go to MIT.
I was wondering how he was able to fund himself at 22 was starting a startup. Because for me, at that time, when I was 22, what was I doing? I was doing an internship, if I'm not mistaken. But what I know is it was hard losing a sponsor. I lost a sponsor. I didn't lose a sponsor. I finished my degree. I was broke. I was broke when I finished my degree. So I couldn't really, I didn't have funding. So that's why I said I'm losing a sponsor. Lost a sponsor. I finished my degree. I had to do an honors. I didn't get a sponsor, another one. So it was kind of hard. Like I wasn't in the right state of mind to start a business in any shape or form. The only businesses I started wasn't necessarily a business, it was a hustle because I needed money. So yeah, I was fixing laptops, installing things for people, like that type of thing. It wasn't necessarily a business at this scale. So makes sense that had an uncle, but he said had. It's past tense.
That kind of person.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he was like, okay, it's really important, the kids go to good schools outside Nigeria, right? So first choice was Canada. And then I remember applying to, to the schools in Canada, and they said we couldn't prove we had the financial muscle to sustain ourselves in such environments.
Okay.
So the next option.
I didn't know that was a requirement. You need to prove you can sustain yourself. I didn't know that.
South Africa. So South Africa for me was like a stepping stone into Canada.
Okay.
Right. So I thought I would come here, spend a year or two, and then go into Canada, right? And unfortunately, he passed away. Right. So he passed away. And for me, I was like, okay, spoke to my parents, and I was like, I was going to make the best of it.
But said that he passed away, but fortunately for him, he is still able to be here. Because clearly it opened a lot of opportunities to him. But big ups to the uncle as well. Big ups to him for saying, hey, my brother's kids, they gotta go to a good school.
Of the opportunity of South Africa. Right. So I think for me, I stayed and, studied hard, did what we had to do. And I think what also helped is the field I was in, right? Tech was just getting off the ground. So, I mean, if you were a great engineer, companies would really want you to stay. That helped with my decision to stay in South Africa.
That's not the case now. That's not the case now. It's so hard to find a job these days. So many people that have tech degrees. Just breaking into tech, like being inside tech, you can find the opportunities, but breaking into tech, it's something else. Let me just say that.
Also, at the point of all tech ecosystems in Africa, SA was the most vibrant. Right now, you can see there's a shift. We got Kenya coming up, Nigeria, but SA was the most vibrant at the point. That's what led to the decision to stay here. So stayed here, studied here. And just never looked back.
What kind of family are you
So I
from?
said also a middle income, family.
Okay.
Right. And my mom was very, very entrepreneurial.
Oh, okay.
Right. I would say even when the power cuts became really problematic in Nigeria, my mom set up a generator business.
We are at little over 30 minutes, guys. So I want to cut the video, but let him finish this portion. I didn't hear why they show me what is this generators, but I'll cut it here. So we'll do a part 2 if we have to, because it's gonna be a long video.
Became really problematic in Nigeria. My mom set up a generator business actually.
Oh, okay.
In Aladi Market.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So I don't even know Aladi Market.
Yeah.
So my mom had, a big generator, and that was powering the whole market.
The fact that she could afford those generators as well. They were paper. They had paper. I'm not discarding anything he did, but they had paper. They had some paper, man. They had some paper. But that was a real smart of his mother.
Getting shops to pay. So I'm always very entrepreneurial. Yeah, I think that's what also kept me grounded.
What would you say is the highlight of your career?
So I think first major highlight in my career was the project with the government.
Okay.
And I think they had just spent a couple million on it before they considered it as a failed project. Someone convinced them to give me a chance, and I was able to do everything from the software engineering to the.
See what I meant? But someone speaking on your behalf, sponsor. It's not somebody. He knows this person. That person, sometimes you may not know, but it's in your best interest to know who can speak for you. He got a tender. Oh, he got a tender to build something for the government because somebody probably knew his uncle spoke for him. So yeah, guys, it's gonna be a long video. It's already 31 minutes in, so I don't want to make it more longer. We'll do a part 2 if we have to. The video is like 12 minutes in. It ends at 21. So even podcasts are not this long. Some podcasts, guys, some are very long. I can do a podcast by myself now. I trust myself. Like, I'm solid. Yeah, guys, if you please like and subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, like and hit the notification button so that you can be graced with my presence every time I drop. I'm joking, guys. Peace and love. Thank you for tuning in. Signing out.